All right, Play with Matches. We are back with a story for you guys that is going to blow your mind. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you know how you've heard these stories about these leftist teachers who are like really, really, really crazy and want to like brainwash your kids and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would assume that something that would be off limits would be sabotaging a child's grade based on their perceived politics, right? Like you would think that that would be a thing that would never happen.
That a teacher wouldn't do because they care about students.
Right? They're not crazy enough to say spray paint a Tesla or sabotage a child's grade because they're on the wrong team in a way that is so psychopathic that their parents had to intervene. And what do you think the odds are that a teacher would have done that if they knew that we were the kid's parents? You know what I mean? It's like one of those things that's like, yeah, I think you might have picked a better target.
Yeah.
Had you recognized that we were, I mean, you know what I mean? It's one of those things, dude. It's like, you look at, so, you know, it's like I see a guy who's 370 pounds. I'm like,
Maybe I won't mess with that one.
I'm probably not going to punch him, you know? And going after our kid.
That's the equivalent. Not
smart, dude. And she found that out today, or is in the process of finding that out right now. So we're going to tell you guys a story, and that is going to be the video today. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. So buckle up and subscribe to the channel if at any point you decide that this is a story that you enjoy. So, Gabrielle, why don't you go ahead and take it away, and we'll,
go from there? Yeah. Well, our 7th grader, Giselle, is a great student. She has straight A's across the board.
Has always had straight A's too.
Less one class.
Guess what class?
That class happens to be art.
Art class.
Art.
Art class.
Which, if anyone here has been to middle school, you can usually safely assume that art is like a gimme. That's an A, just a gimme A. You do all of the work, turn it in and try, you get an A.
Mm-hmm.
Not this class.
No.
Not this teacher.
No. And Giselle, of course, obviously as a straight A student, turned in all of the work, right?
And tried very, very hard.
Very hard.
She's not a great artist.
She's not that bad, I realize. Now that I've seen her portfolio yesterday, everything changed yesterday, okay? Like, everything changed yesterday. Throughout the semester, she had been coming home and being like, I don't know why I can't get a good grade on any of my art. And like and what's so fucked up about it now that we know is she's like, I'm just not good at art. And like, now that I've seen her portfolio, she literally got convinced by this teacher that her grades were bad because she's bad at art. Okay. And like, you know, we don't like look at her stuff like her portfolio in 7th grade art class. Right. And so we're like, you know, it is what it is. We don't care that much because we just assume by the end of the year, any rational teacher is going to end up giving you an A anyway because it's fucking art class, right?
Exactly.
So here's where the rubber kind of starts to hit the road, all right? So Giselle is out with COVID.
Couple weeks ago.
Yeah, like a couple weeks ago. And she's working on this project, and she's like, I'm having to redo this because the teacher said that I didn't turn the paper in, but I did turn it in. She's like, I handed it straight to her. And this is the 2nd or 3rd time that I've like turned something in and like.
That my work has gone missing.
It's just gone missing. And we're like, all right. And like, you know, listen, dude, like I understand there are some kids that might lie to their parents, whatever. Like she's not one of them. Okay. She's not good at lying. Like believe me, I would know if she was lying. She's not lying. Okay. So she's doing this project. And
she's home with us, right? She's homesick.
She has COVID.
And she's working on this project.
In front of us.
For hours.
And she keeps starting over. And we're like, dude, that was really good. Why'd you start over? She's like, I don't know.
She's not gonna like
it.
She's gonna give me a bad grade.
Yeah. So she's stressing out, and we're like, okay, like just whatever.
Just do the assignment.
So she does the assignment.
We're like, it's art class. Just try your best and turn it in. You'll get an A. It's art class.
It's middle school art class. So when it's finished, she probably worked for 5 hours on this thing, dude.
I would say more, honestly. And then all the time totaled from when she first started working on it, she told me that the one that the teacher lost, she had worked on for 3 separate class periods, which is 3 hours.
So you're talking about 8 to 10 hours on a project. Okay. I don't give a shit what the project is. If a 7th grader works 8 to 10 hours on a project, no matter what the subject is, no matter what it is, that kid gets a fucking A, dude. And we looked at it. This was really good.
You know why? Because art is subjective.
Correct.
There's no grading scale.
There's no right, wrong. You didn't get the question wrong.
And that's what she said to me yesterday. She's like, I can't stand art because there's no like right or wrong.
Mm-hmm. So it's subjective, right? Mm-hmm. So we looked at it. She turns it in. When she comes home, she's like, she gave me an 80. We're like, she gave you a B- on that? And she's like, yeah. Then she showed us another thing that she had gotten a B- on, and we're like, what? And then she started showing us pictures of her friends' assignments, same exact category. And Giselle's better than theirs with our
At the
eyes.
very least on par with.
Easily. And they got 100% on them. And we're like, what is going on? Okay? Like, what is going on? So then on her
and
last...
she said to me several times, I just don't think she likes me. And I don't know why.
I don't think she likes me. I don't know why. So her last assignment of the year, she's like so excited. She's like, I got 100%. She told me that it was the best assignment that I had done. And it turns out she had a partner on this.
It's a partner project.
So it's a partner project. So suddenly she has a partner, and we looked at this assignment. It wasn't even fucking good. It was
That's what I said.
It was not good compared to the one she got 80 on. And we're like,
she was so proud of finally getting this teacher's nod of approval.
So we're like, okay, that's awesome, Giselle. Like, great job. And then to each other, we're looking like, how is that 100?
Like a second grader drew it.
Right. Well, no, it wasn't that bad, but it was like, how does that get a 100? And these are all getting 80s. Like, we didn't understand, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you don't think that she's sabotaging her because of like,
no, we didn't know anything yet. We're like, what?
But like, what could it be? We just
be?
just kind of threw it out as like, maybe. We're like, no way, dude. Like that. No one's that fucking crazy. Okay.
Well.
So yesterday, Giselle brings home her
entire
portfolio
art folder.
And guess what she had done on the front?
Hold on. The children were told to decorate their portfolio with something that was important to them. But something that represented them on the front of this gigantic portfolio. It's like 14 by 24. It's huge.
This big.
It's huge.
It's this big. She did a big block letter MAGA on it, okay? And then did Make America Great Again.
So to be fair, they created these portfolios their first week of school, right? We're leading up to the election. It's what's on everybody's mind.
Giselle is 12, so she has no idea that it's like, dude, if this teacher is one of these Tesla, like I'll spray paint a Tesla crazies, she's gonna fuck you all year, Like she had no idea, of course, because she's 12, right? And what does she know about anybody? Like she's just listening to us.
Yeah.
So she brings that home yesterday, and we looked at it. I'm like, oh.
I sent you a photo. I was like, well, this might have something to do with her grade in her art class.
So what's our next step? We go to the teacher's Facebook.
Media.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So took us about 1 second to find an old default picture that said, get your vax, wear your mask, whatever. Like this chick is like absolutely fucking prototype, the kinds of person who would sabotage a child's grade because they wrote MAGA on the front of her folder. Okay. So we're like, okay. And so the more we talked about it, like then we asked Giselle, because Giselle went to her yesterday and was like, "What?"
No, wrote her an email because I was like, "Look, kid, let's try and handle this. Let's have you
talk to her.
No,
that's right.
I was like, let's try and have you handle this. So I helped her construct an email that was very, very polite, just asking which assignments were late, how they were graded, which points were docked off, and if there was anything that she could do to help raise her grade to an A.
She had an 87.
Yeah.
She has an 87.
So she needs
That's as far as the chick could get away with giving her because she turned all of her assignments and it's just fucking art.
Exactly. And so instead of writing our child back, which would have been the polite thing to do that shows that you respect your students, she pulled her aside out of class and basically like reprimanded her and said, I wish that you had showed this kind of level of concern about your work earlier in the semester. And
this is coming after Giselle had gone to her and asked her why she was getting bad grades over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
And Giselle, several times during each class period when they were working on the art, would do the work, bring it to the teacher and say, is this good? Is there anything else I need to add or change? She would give her some corrections. She would go back and do it. And she repeated this several times. Like, to say that this kid didn't demonstrate concern over her grades is absurd.
Laughable. Okay. So So she tells Giselle, one of the things she tells Giselle, okay, because keep in mind, okay, one of those assignments that got lost, Giselle handed directly to that teacher, and then the teacher was like, I don't know, I never got it. Where is that assignment, okay? So specifically the one she tells Giselle about, like, we didn't realize at the time that she was like, you know, you weren't showing very much concern about keeping track of your assignments. She specifically cited the one that Giselle had handed to her, right? So Giselle comes home and tells us that. And I'm like, dude, she's doing this because of the MAGA folder, right? And we're like, probably. So we write her an email, okay?
A very nice,
polite,
very
but
nice email.
Very specifically meant to entrap her, just so we're clear, okay? Like, it was just kind of like, hey, so, Giselle came home.
She also said that Giselle was playing around in class.
God
hey, forbid we have fun in art class while we're drawing.
So she leaves that opening, right? So we write her an email. We're all, hey, we just, we just want to make sure that we understand because this is the only class Giselle does not have an A in. And Giselle said that when she spoke to you about it, that you had mentioned her behavior. So we just wanted to understand two main things. A, was her behavior impacting her grade? Because if she's been disrespectful to you or any other teacher, we need to know about that because that's a problem for us at home. And B, if she turned anything late, did that affect her grade?
And which assignments they
were and how they impacted, because she was out with COVID. So we knew the school policy was however long they were out with COVID, they get that many days to make up. So we knew if she said she took points off, we were going to be able to undo
get
that.
Those back. Yeah.
She writes back this fucking snotty, I can't do this without being able to use the word. So what do you...
See you next Tuesday? That word.
See you next Tuesday. So we're just going to say bunt, okay? So this snide bunt email back to us that was like, hi, Miss Merle. Thank you for your email. As I discussed with Giselle, yes, her behavior did, as I state online in my whatever, behavior does actually impact the grading. And
art project.
And as I spoke to Giselle about, as the example I gave her was this pop art thing, she did demonstrate a lack of, care when it came to keeping track of her assignment. Thank you for your concern and thank you for your understanding, blah, blah. So she answered.
We all know what thank you for your understanding means.
It means fuck you, right? Thank you for your thank you for your understanding, and then sign the teacher. So we read that and I was like, she didn't answer any of the questions, and she literally just was like, and so the fact that she cited that particular assignment, the one that Giselle's handed to her, I'm like, that fucking bitch threw that assignment in the trash and she pretended like she didn't know, and then she fucking gaslit my daughter about it when my daughter asked about it, because my daughter wrote MAGA on the front of a fucking folder. So
in like October or August.
So I wrote, we actually wrote a combined email back. Then she's like, thank you for your understanding. We're like, no. Actually, thank you for your understanding, but no, we actually don't, or no, thank you for your email, but we actually don't understand. And so we just painted her into a corner where it was like, so we just want to make sure that behavior impacted her, her grade in art. You didn't answer any of this. Actually, let's just read it. Let's just fucking read it, dude.
Just leave out the principal's name.
Yeah, I'm going to leave out everybody's name. Okay, so this is the exact email that we wrote back, okay? Thanks for the email, but I actually don't understand. Using the pop art example is interesting because Giselle was out of school with COVID while she was working on that assignment, and my husband and I watched her do 6 or 7 versions while telling us she was trying to do everything she could to impress you and get a good grade. So she was, in fact, very concerned about her. I'm sorry, let me read you what she wrote back first, just so it's all. So this is what she wrote back. Hi, Miss Merle. Thank you for your email. As many of my lessons posted in Schoology will show, behavior is always a consideration when grading an assignment. Although grading an art assignment, guys, behavior is always a consideration when grading an art assignment. Okay. Yeah. Although I would not consider Giselle's behavior in any way outlandish, there have been times I used the pop art shoe portrait as an example when speaking to Giselle today, where she clearly was not keeping track of her work, and yes, at times being too playful. The high B that I assigned her is an accurate reflection of the time and effort she put into this class. While I appreciate that she inquired about her overall grade, I wish the same concern had been demonstrated earlier in the semester for each of her assignments rather than the last few days of school. Again, thank you for your email, and I appreciate your understanding. Have a good evening. Okay, so that was her response, which is did not respond to anything that we asked and just said, fuck you, right? So we said, thanks for the email, but I actually don't understand. Using the pop art example is interesting because Giselle was out of school with COVID while she was working on that assignment with my was working on that assignment. My husband and I watched her do 6 or 7 versions while telling us she was trying to do everything she could to impress you and get a good grade. So she was, in fact, very concerned about her grade. On more than one occasion, she turned assignments into the designated folder that were lost, which is no fault of hers, including specifically the pop art assignment when she wasn't permitted to enter the classroom and was told to hand it straight to you personally during advisory. We were shocked when we saw the grade that you gave her on the pop art assignment specifically. This is probably the 3rd email we've ever written to a teacher about Giselle since she started kindergarten. And all due respect, it's surprising it's an art class where she's worked very hard and turned in every assignment. To reiterate my question, what assignments were late and were they docked points for that? Feels like she's being singled out, especially when she suddenly gets a 100% when she is working with a partner on her last assignment that to anyone with 2 eyes was inferior to the work, to her pop art assignment we watched her work for hours on. To say that she hasn't expressed any concern in raising her grade in your class is very difficult to believe. I know she walks up to your desk several times during class in an attempt to make sure that her art is up to your standards. This is a kid who... What the fuck? Oh my God. This is a kid who desperately cares about her grades and has tried extremely hard in your class. Truthfully, she has spent more hours on art than she has on any other subject this year.
True.
To see your child receive her lowest grade while trying her best in a class where grading is purely subjective makes you really wonder what else is going on. And candidly, if this is your final answer and you don't have a more detailed explanation for how you landed on the grade she has, we are going to have a discussion with her boss about our impression that she is being singled out, and we will just have to hypothesize with him about why that might be. We look forward to a more detailed breakdown, or if not, our in-person meeting with you and
Principal.
her boss, where my husband and I could talk with both of you, and you can explain to the room how, quote, behavior in art class is the reason that she was given her only B this grading period, and then we signed it off. So she didn't respond for 3 hours, and we just happened to be at the school today, and
for something else.
And so we just went to the principal, and we're like, yeah, and so her and I laid out our case, and I stripped by at the end. I was like, I'm going to tell you right now, I think she took that assignment, threw it in the trash, and then gaslit my daughter about it. Okay. Because she had MAGA on the folder. Ask her. I straight up said that. I'm like, that's exactly what I said. I'm like, I think that's what she did. I'm like, these people, there are people who will key a Tesla because they don't like the brand of car it is. And I think that's the exact kind of person that would take a child's assignment and throw it in the garbage can, and then throw it in the garbage can and then gaslight us about it. And the way we handled it, it's just like, so now basically no matter what, we win because who gives a fuck about her fucking grade?
Yeah, it's not about the grade.
We don't give a shit about the grade. But now she is going to have a conversation with both principals about the fact that a parent brought this situation. This is an indefensible situation. They all know who she is, who my daughter is. They're like, we've never had a behavior issue with you ever. And you put in writing to the parents that you docked her down to a B because of her behavior in class when she's never had a single behavior problem. And she wrote MAGA on her folder, and you have all over your Facebook that you're some psychotic fucking leftist. Like, hey, good luck, dude. And they said that she handed you an assignment that you somehow lost and then made her redo and then gave her a fucking 80 when she redid the assignment and gave it to you. Okay, like she's in an indefensible position. Fuck that fucking bunt.
There you have it.
So that happened. We'll keep you posted on how that goes.
We will.
But man, last night when I realized what she had done, like I was so hot. Gabrielle was like falling asleep.
I kept trying to go to sleep.
I kept like going into our bathroom, you know, and like closing the doors, like so the lights, and then I kept coming out. I was like, this fucking bitch, I guarantee took our kid's assignment and threw it in the fucking trash can, dude.
It does feel that way.
And then gaslit our baby about it when she asked about it. Like gaslit her. Use that as the example. Well, you're not really very good at keeping track of your assignments.
And I wish you cared a little bit more earlier in the school year.
I wish you cared a little bit more earlier in the school year. It's like, hey, hopefully you don't care very much about your fucking job, bitch. Anyway, that's what we got for today.
See ya.
Bye.